Bible study. I got to prepare to renew some of my existing clients and to onboard some new clients, to onboard some people for 30 to Eden. And so yeah, I just have a lot of things to do today, and a lot of things to do today that really only I can do. So those things is like the things you can delegate, the things you can get, some virtual assistants to do, and then there's things that you just have to do yourself. So today is a day where I have to do that. 30 Eden starts next week. And so I know that there'll be a lot of last minute participants, last minute onboarding, last minute everything, because y'all, I've been putting on events and seminars and workshops and all of these things for years. Okay. I don't care if it's within a company. It could be people where I'll host the same workshop every single year, same time of year, same day, same everything. And you could send them invitations to register for a year straight, literally for a year straight. And everyone will register 3 days before, knowing that they coming 3 days before. And they're like, well, I knew I was coming. Yeah, but I didn't know you were coming. Like, I needed to know that you're coming, because we got to get food. We got to get this. We got to get that. We just have to make sure that we have enough, so that way we can properly host you all. But no matter what, people really just don't want you to be a good host. They're like, oh no, you got it. No, like we don't want to run out of fish. I want to have enough handouts. And I'm also the person too, to where I don't want to have to throw away a lot of stuff after an event. We have all these printouts and all this other stuff. It just feels so wasteful. I don't want to have a million trillion flyers, a million trillion of everything, simply because it's wasteful. So y'all, today what we're going to talk about are just 5 things that you can do that will make a huge difference in your business. 5 things that you can do that will make a huge difference in your business and in your life. And this is important, because there's so many things to do. I think I watched this video recently where this guy was like, living in 2024 is hard. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to write an ebook to sell the ebook, I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this. And that's like the reality of what people think business is like. And so there's all these different options, and people are like, I don't know what I should be doing. I don't know what I could do. And y'all, do me a favor and just click like on here until you just can't click anymore. Just continue to click like. As usual, this Wednesday meeting is going to be great. And in today's meeting, I'm going to teach you guys just 5 things you can do that's going to make a huge difference in where you're going and in your business. Now, if you don't know me, my name's Yanique. I'm a minister and an executive coach, and I'm called to the marketplace. I'm called to people who are trying to do things, the movers and shakers. I'm called to the leaders. All right. And it's really, really important to know who you're called to, who it is you're servicing, who your client is, who your mentees are going to be, that sort of thing, to make sure you don't waste your time. So that way you're not like that video where the guy's like in 2024, soon, very, very soon to be 2025, you're running all over the place. Because messing around, you'll sit there and you'll be going here, there, and have made very little progress, just because maybe you don't understand, where it is and who you're called to and what you're supposed to do. So I'm called to people in the marketplace, people who are leading within their companies, people who are starting companies, people who already have companies. Maybe it's a creative entrepreneurs, just leaders in their industry. And we need leadership more than anything else, y'all. The world is crying out for moral and ethical leaders. Crying out for moral and ethical leaders. People who are going to do the right things, that are going to show you the way, that aren't just trying to use you, aren't just trying to scam you. I'm going to put a post about this later, but everybody's going to, I already know people are going to be mad. Not people that are going to run some online pyramid scheme on you, where you're selling to the people who are selling to the people who are selling to the people who are selling, where you don't really have real customers, right? So, just people who are going to do the right things. And it's really hard because everything is so flooded. But as long as you're in a place where you know what you're doing, everyone else is going to figure it out and they're going to pull it through. But we need more leaders to show up more than anything else. We need you to be running a great business. We need you to lead within the corporation that you're working in now. We need you to lead in your community. We need you to lead, everywhere. And the thing is, no one wants to lead anymore. Why? Because it seems like it's so much work. It's so difficult. You don't want to have responsibility, all these other things. Y'all, I wrote, this quote was so crazy. I had to write it down. I was watching this video, and I try to stay like, I'm not the most technologically advanced person or when it comes to that, but I try to stay abreast of what's happening in every industry, especially the major changes that are happening. And so I've been keeping a closer, I probably need to be closer, but a close watch when it comes to artificial intelligence. And the reason being is because it's something we've never seen before. It's dynamic. It's very helpful, right? But for everything that is very helpful, there's also some changes that we're going to need to make to adjust. We're past the point to where like the decision making about it that's already done. The decision has been made. It's here. Cool. Now we're at the place where we need to adjust. Y'all, so I was listening to this interview that happened at Stanford University with a man named Eric Schmidt. And Eric Schmidt is the ex-CEO of Google, the person who was running everything. I don't know what he's doing now, but this man is 1000% into AI. It's so volatile right now and so uncertain that he says, look, I know this is going to be a big thing. A lot of money is being poured into it. To be honest, I don't know who's going to win. Apparently, the United States is in a race with China over who's going to have the most innovative artificial intelligence and who's going to be ahead. Apparently, right now, the United States is ahead by only like 10 years. And y'all, we know 10 years is nothing. that's like 2 days, right? And that's just his estimate. But he said something that really took me back, and it really added a lot of fuel to the fire of why it is that I do what I do. And this is what he said. And this was in response to how many billions of dollars, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars are being invested into AI, and why it needs so much money, but why so many people are putting so much money into it, although much of it is very uncertain. And so there's these investors, they're just pouring billions in all of these different companies, hoping that one of them will be the next big contender. And he says this: there's a belief in the market that the invention of intelligence has an infinite return. So I'm going to repeat that because it took me a second to grasp it. And I said, I listened to the interview and I said, Holy Spirit, hold on, what? He says there's a belief in the market that the invention of intelligence has an infinite return. That's my first thing. I was like, oh, my God is great because he's the one who invented intelligence. Now, here's the thing. Human beings have unlimited potentiality. The thing between your ears has already shown and has been scientifically proven to have unlimited intelligence. So much so that they've learned that if you were to get into a really bad accident, God forbid, if you were to get into a really bad accident, if you worked on it enough, they used to think that, let's say someone had brain damage, that they'd be like that forever. They found out that if you just work and do brain games and memory games and just work your brain enough, eventually it will start to restore itself. Meaning it's constantly growing, constantly increasing its capacity. Similar, right? Because we're the original AI, similar to what they've done with artificial intelligence. So I'm like, So we have people from all over the world that are investing billions of dollars in artificial intelligence, but are divesting in education. Meaning, you put billions of dollars into artificial intelligence, when you already have billions of people walking around with unlimited intelligence? Y'all, this stuff is going to get great. I need more likes than 22. They say you have not because you ask not. If you're listening right now, keep tapping, keep tapping, keep tapping. We're going to get into this. We are going to get deep into this. Just tap the screen just like that, and we're going to go into it. And so I sat there and I thought to myself, what's the difference between this? The same people who are investing into artificial intelligence, not saying I can't confirm or deny whether or not they would, but are not heavily invested in the intelligence of the average human being. I mean, if you go around the world in your neighborhood, right, we have to fight tooth and nail for money to better our schools. We have to fight tooth and nail to pay teachers. We have to fight tooth and nail to make sure that your child's education is what it needs to be. The price to be educated is through the roof. 10, 15, 20, sometimes 60, $75,000 a year to be educated, right? Tooth and nail. They make it extremely inaccessible, although human beings also have demonstrated scientifically the unlimited capacity to learn. Now, here's the kicker. Obviously, artificial intelligence is doing these things and it's doing very quickly, right? No, the government is not supposed to pay all of our bills. I'm just talking about the level of investment. And I do believe that if there is something that everyone should desire to invest in, it should be in the intelligence of human beings. We all reap the negative returns of having ignorant human beings. We do. We all absolutely do. We all reap the negative returns, right? We all reap a deadly harvest of ignorance. We do. It impacts our daily lives. We see it in violence. We see it in every ism. We see it in misappropriation of funds. We see it just in day-to-day life. We all have been impacted by ignorance. So, but I'm going to get to my point. This made sense to me as to why they would do it. Because if you invest billions of dollars in intelligence, this is also intelligence that you can somewhat, because they still aren't able to do it completely, that's somewhat controlled. Meaning if you invest a lot of money into artificial intelligence, that intelligence has one focus. That intelligence didn't get in a fight with a baby daddy. That intelligence doesn't say, look, I need more, I need more work-life balance, right? That intelligence doesn't say, hey, you got to give me a break. This intelligence doesn't have this intelligence doesn't say, hey, you need to give me a raise. Although, another thing that he said was that technically what they need to do with artificial intelligence, the United States doesn't have the energy to support it. Meaning, look, we need to fight this fight with China, right? And we need to beat them. We need to do all these different things. It's going to be so amazing, but we also don't have the energy to support it. We literally do not have the power grid to support what it is that they're looking to do. So they're coming up with all of these different things. And these are some of the problems that are surrounding it that they're trying to solve. So it does have a cost. It does have a cost associated. I just hope they choose us over artificial intelligence. I don't want them to be blacking us out just so that they can have, strong AI, but I digress, right? But it's because it can be controlled. It can be controlled. It can be tampered with. But it's so out of control, and it's so that they don't understand it. They built it, but it's kind of going on its own, that they say the manner in which that they use and they've started to use to control it and to try to understand how it's learning is by finding people and people learning how to break it. This is crazy. I'm listening to this and I said, hold on, wait. So we've built artificial intelligence to the point to where it's like a teenager. We're just learning how to deal with it, and they're literally teaching people and and motivating and influencing people to build companies around learning how to break it so that they can better understand it, because that's where it's gone. But they're also investing billions of dollars into something in which they're saying, hey, this is going to be really cool, but we're also incapable of fully controlling it. The only difference is more easily controlled than you, because you have needs other than just power, and artificial intelligence does not. Anyone following my train of thought here? Am I the only person that thinks this way and that puts the tools together? This is why this is important for you and I. Is as the world, now mind you, they said that the United States is only maybe 10 years ahead of China. And that's just now. And we know the rate in which things grow like this. If the United States is only 10 years ahead, right? Then that means that we as human beings are how many years ahead of this? Their answer is we're not. It's knocking out right at our door. We're already seeing jobs being replaced, people being replaced in certain areas. So have fun, folks. Right. We're already seeing jobs being, let me turn this light off. My phone says it's overheating. We're already seeing jobs being replaced and people being replaced in certain areas, in certain aspects. I'm saying this to say, none of us can afford to sit on our laurels and just assume that we'll never have to change. We can't just assume that everything's going to come together. We can't just assume that the government's going to do X, Y, Z. Think about it, right? They're investing billions of dollars in artificial intelligence. Go to your local school board meeting, local community meeting, and ask them how much more they're putting into your child's education, and see how much hemming and hawing happens. How much are going into grant funding for your high school graduate? Or are they going to ask you for a financial aid statement? So I'm not saying that one way or the other, but we are seeing where the money is being prioritized. And this is not something to scare you, but if anything, it's showing me, and it's showing all of us that there's things that we need to think about, and we really can't afford to be distracted. Now, here's another thing of how important this was. This was a talk that he had at Stanford University with the students there. So not only are they having this conversation, but they're also out evangelizing for this. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but anytime you have millionaires and billionaires evangelizing for people to come up with solutions to progress this thing forward, right? To get people on board, hey, we need you to help our mission. We need you to build companies that can learn how to break AI so we can better understand it. But we're also investing billions of dollars into its progress, because it's really going to help us do some really cool things. And he gave some examples. I hadn't even finished watching it, because from the nuggets that he gave and me reading between the lines and me reading the back ends of what's happening and me absorbing it, because I am a deep thinker and I am a visionary. And when I see these things and I'm like, oh, I'm seeing it, and then I'm praying about it. I'm like, Lord, is this why you having me watch this? Absolutely. You're not going to be able to afford to sit on your laurels. Let me tell you, wealthy people do not invest that type of money into something that they do not plan to utilize. No, not me, but people are the only ones that go out and buy a bunch of things that they don't plan on using. You know, they're not going out there and buying all this stuff that they have zero plans of utilizing. If they buy a yacht, they rent it out if they don't use it. Something is happening. And so, and I didn't even go further into what they're going to use the next level of AI to do. And I have to go back and watch it so that way I'd be able to better explain to you guys what this is going to mean for the marketplace. But let me tell you, if individuals are going to universities, recruiting people and planting these seeds of saying, hey, I need you, right? They're saying, look, if you do this, I have billions of dollars to invest in your company to make sure this thing happens, meaning I'm already invested. This is already a yes. I just need you to figure this out. So if you are in tech, hey, I just gave you a free nugget right there. They're investing billions of dollars into this. If you've been sitting on your laurels and you're like, they're already saying the answer is yes. They're already saying, look, we're putting money everywhere because we don't know who's going to hit and it keeps changing, right? So they're already over invested in it and saying, look, we're going to put more money into this, not into your child's intellectual intelligence, right? Human intelligence, into artificial intelligence. So I'm saying that to say that it's very likely that you are already receiving downloads of what it is that you need to do to get to the next level. You cannot afford to be distracted. You cannot afford to be distracted. We cannot afford to be distracted with the issues of life, be distracted by the wrong messaging on social media, being distracted by whatever it is, overthinking, perfectionism, procrastination, and its ugly cousin, delay. Right? We can't afford Brennan Rogers. So tell me something, right? We cannot afford to do any of those things. Y'all, the proof is always out there, right? I don't know. We can run into the same issue over and over again. It'd be slapping us in the face. The writing is all on the wall for so many different things. We just have to get in a place to prepare. It's very likely that you already have ideas that can establish a strong financial foundation for yourself. It's very likely that you already have ideas, that could replace maybe your 9-to-5 income. Maybe you are in an industry that you're like, could this be replaced by a computer? Just ask yourself, for what you do, could artificial intelligence replace that? The answer for most things right now is yes. Right? Is yes. And I was just about to say this, Brennan, is that it's funny that for many things, the many people who are going to be saved from this are people who are in what was previously called blue collar jobs. I'm going to call them gold collar. The plumbers, the electricians, the home builders, all of those other people, right? But right now it's like we're looking at attorneys and all these people being replaced by artificial intelligence, and it's getting smarter and smarter and smarter. Construction, all of these different things. So it's very, very likely that you have an innovative idea. It's very likely that you have a business that if you were to put more time, effort, and energy into, more focus, and really just giving yourself enough time to grow, you'll be able to grow that thing. But the writing is all on the wall, y'all. We have to get back. I Googled today what it takes to become an attorney. Right. But meanwhile, look at all the things that you used to go to attorneys to do that now AI can do. I just literally had AI write me up like a coaching contract. Would it be nice to have an attorney do it? Absolutely. Right. But I have the basics down. I read through it. I was like, yeah, that's about everything for basic things. Right. And it's just like in any industry, there are big cases, big everything that comes in the door. But the majority of what I would say many businesses are taking on are what I consider to be a tier 1 client. A tier 1 client is someone that needs help with something that's more everyday, someone that needs help with, something that they're not an expert in, that you can help them, but maybe it's not $1 million deal. So let's imagine this, like say you have a nail salon, most of your clients coming in aren't getting like the 5 inch boom, 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 unless that's something you specialize in, right? There's going to be a lot of business that comes to you that's like really cute mani pedis, French manicure, maybe a little bit longer, a little jazzy, da 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 da. But most people aren't getting the full on boom. Doesn't mean we turn away those people, but there's always going to be more people at the bottom and base level things and higher up. The issue is artificial intelligence is replacing a lot of those tier one opportunities. Like, yeah, maybe it can't, maybe it can't get you off of a criminal charge if you go to trial, but if you need a basic lease agreement, or I can upload something and say, hey, tell me, put this contract in layman's terms, right? Trying to get liquid capital started, real estate, buy, fix, rent, flip, etc. Right? I would say this: go out and get the liquid capital, and we're going to go through these 5 points soon. And y'all, will you guys please like the live? Go ahead, and not just once. Once ain't enough for the platform. They want to see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of likes and thousands. Okay. I would, yes, go after and finding the capital, but legitimately, I do still believe in some of those more homegrown methods of, hey, do you have a business idea right now that if you were to work that thing for a year, would you have 50,000, 70,000, 80,000, sometimes $30,000, for your first flip. If you haven't already done your first flip once, and then that's your capital and build that way. And the reason being, right? Because I know that may seem like the slow route, but the reason being is that when I work with businesses that do have a high like debt ratio, right? The main issue doesn't become the debt. The main issue becomes the pressure that comes along with the debt that prevents them from being able to create and being innovative and problem solve, because they spend most of their time worrying about that deed instead of the time working. So you got to really know exactly. And then you got to also understand this: credit is difficult right now in that industry because that's an industry that they've been trying to slow down. Let's be real. There's a reason why interest rates are so high in the real estate market. They're actively trying to slow that down. That doesn't mean that you stop the mission. That doesn't mean that you stop your dream, right? But we got to go back to some of these like mom and pops, who was the age before the boomers, right? Like homegrown, hey, we're going to get this cash together. We're going to start here, get our family together. We're going to do this. We're just going to work to where we're going to do this in the zero debt model. And now I will say this, right? If you are already an astute business person, right? You are already an astute business person, and you have to be really real with yourself. Because this is the thing. Sometimes we'll be like, yeah, I got my MBA. No, an astute business person, meaning an astute entrepreneur, meaning you have handled the ups and downs, the this and that when it comes to building a business, then yeah, maybe the financing option is something for you. Maybe you can handle that and still do it, right? Right? And still go that. Yeah, there's just a zero debt business model. Remember, the point of running a business is to profit. The more you are in debt, the less profit you have. The goal is not for you to just have the title of an entrepreneur. The purpose of it is for you to make money. An entrepreneur is someone who organizes a business at a greater investment than most, right? At a greater financial risk than most. But what you don't want to do is have it to where everything that you do is just eating up that profit. Because let's say you get these huge $1 million deals, right? But you've got millions of dollars worth of debts to pay. You just profited the same amount of money as so-and-so who's been flipping their own stuff with their own cash. So you're doing more work with more headache for that same level of profit. What matters at the end of the day when it comes to business is what percentage of the money can you keep to the point to where you're able to still grow the business. I don't know what you just said, but so that is what it is that you want to do. Is you want to get yourself in that position, all right? Oh, it's okay. I didn't know I didn't know what you meant. So I just wait until people rewrite their comment, all right? So I want you guys right now to comment where you are in the phase of your idea, because every single one of you guys have an idea. I'm an executive coach. So I work with small business owners and I work with entrepreneurs as well to help them grow their businesses, as you probably can tell, and help them solve challenges and mostly help them stay in the mindset to just to stay in the mindset to keep going. Because a big issue when it comes to entrepreneurs is not really the problem itself, it's the focus, right? The focus and doing what you need to do in order to progress forward. So today I'm going to give you guys 5 things, right? 5 things that are going to help you on this journey. And they're going to be a little bit different than what you normally hear, but you guys already know. You already know what to expect, okay? So the first thing is, anytime I'm working with someone, most of the time before we can get to the big problem, the real problem, what we have to do is make a lot of adjustments within that person. Meaning the majority of people that I work with, I know when I first start working with them, let's say the first 45% to 50% of our relationship and my coaching and development is going to be based on helping that person change their perspective and to align their perspective and to align their habits in the direction to where you want to go. So you're a freelance writer. All right. So everyone put in the chat what industry you're in, right? And then we're going to go from there. So that way I know who I'm talking to and make sure that I'm able to speak y'all's language. It is an idea. Freelance writers, you guys got to come up with ideas every day. God bless you. Construction electrician, film and TV producer, transportation, local union, got it. Who else? Put right in the chat what industry you're in. So I love it. You guys are in a lot of different industries. I love it. Yeah. You are much more, right? And the idea, let's say if you're in something else, then what's the something else? You know, I have this book back there. It's called Don't Spend 100% of Your Time on 10% of Who You Are. So, or you can put what what's this season's ideas. Safety manager, got it. Okay. Now, in the second part, I want you guys to comment, what industry do you have dreams about? What are the industries that you have visions about? What are the industries where when you're like, man, that would be so cool if I can do this, that you have interest in, that maybe you've been hesitant of getting into? Put that industry in the chat. Oh, well, then Brennan, you need to join 30 to Eden. We're going to start on a Monday. It's a community. I'm going to work with everyone who's in there for 30 days to birth out their next idea. You want to get into coding. I envision a woman like you. You bet. Pray for one. God makes many women. There's many women. Floyd said just retirement. Floyd, I don't know how old you are. Right? But I just don't think that God put retirement in your soul. This is why I say that. All right. So, and sometimes that comes from, was there a dream that you had before that you put off? Because let me tell you, when you don't follow your dreams, it sucks the life out of you, where you just settle, like, if I can just do this. Now, there's nothing wrong with retirement. I think that this is amazing. I know some people that built some amazing businesses once they retired from the military, all that stuff. And it's a beautiful place to be in. You might be, a few years away from retirement if you started early enough And that retirement check is their seed and sustains them while they're building the next thing. But you're too young to be talking about retirement. About finishing my contracted book. Good. Well, it seems that's how I know you're a true writer. True writers always have someone calling them and are about meeting the deadline. They like, I got it. It's coming. Right? I mean, every creative just procrastinates about finishing their project. That's just built in. Like I don't know writers who don't procrastinate writing. And then it's just like a masterpiece. There's certain things that are built into the DNA of certain types of people. And that's how you know that a lot of what our purpose is and what our destiny is was built into us from a long time ago. We just have to allow it to live. A lot of times, what I've realized is that society treats people like people come from like a big box store where it's like, oh, okay, are you a microwave? These are the 6 type of microwaves we have. All the microwaves have these general things, and we'll just make something a little bit different about it just so you feel like you have options. And just to make it stand out from the competition, or like, oh, this is the kind of makeup, or you want towels, These are, and it's like we treat people like they come from big box stores that has a little bit of everything that's different enough to stand out, but alike enough not to stand out too much. And human beings aren't really made like that. Human beings are really made one of a kind, but we kind of treat ourselves like we come from a big box store like Target or Walmart or something like that. And that's just not the case. And the more you work with people and the more you think they're all alike, then you're like, oh, hold on, that one is real different. But you have to get into the nuances of something or the nuances of someone to figure out and to see how different they are. And what's happened is people have bought into the big box idea to where now, instead of us realizing that we're not from a big box store, that we're all built very, very, very differently, we're bought into the fact that we're like a commodity and you're not a commodity. So, and we end up sucking the life out of ourselves when we treat ourselves like we're a commodity. One size fit all, that type of thing. But how many of you guys know for sure that things that are one size fit all don't last very long? You only have about 3 or 4 wears out of that thing and a few washes on anything that's one size fit all. That's all I'm saying. If it don't come in sizes, just know you won't have it that long. And there's never something that's one size fit all that ain't cheap. Thank you so much, Lil Wordy. God bless you. All right, y'all, we're going to get into the topic. And thank you so much. Let's get the likes up and everything for everyone that's listening. So I know that when I work with someone, the first thing that needs to change about that person is the person, right? Usually, whenever we find ourselves stuck in a place, we have where we want to go. That's the goal here. And then we have us. And normally, what we'll try to do is we'll change this goal so that we can stay fixed. So say, for instance, you had a goal that was this high, right? And you look at that goal and you're like, ooh, I am nothing like that. So I have this goal of being Oprah, but in order to be that, or whatever the thing is, right? Whatever the vision is, in order to be that, that means I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. So let me bring this goal down a little bit. Let me bring this goal down a little bit. Let me bring this goal down a little bit. And then you try to bring the vision into a place where you feel more comfort. You try to bring the vision to a place where you bring more comfort. And then we're like, oh, okay, this doesn't require much change from me. But then you get there and you're so dissatisfied. That's because you want this thing, right, to be the thing that moves and comes to you instead of you being the one that goes to it. And so that's when we end up getting disenchanted with live. I can't like for some reason your video is paused. Sorry. Oh, hold on. Let's see. All right, let's move this thing around. Okay, can you guys see me now? Am I still paused or I'm good? Y'all let me know. Am I still on pause or are we good? Let's see if I can log in from here. because I can't tell. I may have to restart it. Nope, let me change it. Oh, okay, cool. All right. So one of the things that we'll do is we'll change the goal instead of really focusing on changing ourselves. So that's not something that you want to do. You want to make sure that you're the person that's willing to make the changes. And this is the thing. The things that you want, the life that you're called to live, the visions that you have, they work in two ways. The first thing is obviously it's going to give you a deep sense of fulfillment. Human beings were created, all right, to have dominion, to work, to problem solve, all of these different things, right? My Bible study has a set time at 7 p.m. But today I had a mentorship call. So normally I go live at 12. Today I had a mentorship call with a organization called Step Up. So I was talking with a young woman around that time. So sometimes you got to sacrifice things to give back. So that's why I wasn't on today at 12, because I was on my call with Step Up. So what we have to do is be willing, right, to make the changes to ourselves, to our strategy, to our perspectives, so that we can grow to meet this goal that we have. Every vision that you have in your life will do two things. One, it's going to give you a deep sense of fulfillment, but two, it's going to aid you on the road of you becoming, right? Or it's going to aid you to become the person that you need to be. Meaning when you were created and God had a vision for you, you going to accomplish that vision is going to help you to become the man or woman that God wanted you to become. The person that's steadfast, you're going to gain the patience, you're going to gain the wisdom, you're going to learn how to be friendly, how to be kind, how to work as a team, how to lead, how to collaborate. You're going to learn how to be steadfast and focused and diligent and organized. And, you're going to learn how to be good with money. You're going to learn, which is a proper steward, but you're going to learn how to steward your resources. You're going to learn how to steward your time, how to steward your relationships. There's so many different things. And so whenever you neglect to make the changes, or you try to do everything you can possibly do to not make these changes, in order to get there, all you do is also lock yourself in to like the iPhone 1. But life is really asking you to be at iPhone 15. Because you're like, this one's good enough. That seems like too much work. When really, when you look forward, every iPhone that came out is just a little bit better than the last one, a little bit better than the last one, a little bit better than the last one. And then next thing you know, you can't tell as you upgrade, but the next thing you know, the first one almost looks completely different from the last one, but they rolled it out slowly. That's also the time that's supposed to be happening. And what's supposed to be happening with you is iPhone 1 is painful. It is. But think about it like this. If you don't have anyone to check you, or you don't check yourself, you may mess around and your mentality and who you are is still on your personal iPhone 1. You just haven't gotten any feedback. No one's checked you on it or whatever. It's not until someone looks at your phone and be like, how long you had this? Then you start feeling weird about it. Now for me, I already said that this is going to be my last iPhone, but maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe they'll make me change my mind. But it's not until y'all ever see someone with a phone, but how long have you had this? Right? And that's just a material item to me, which doesn't really matter. But you don't want who you are as a person, as a leader, as a creative, as a wife, as a husband, as anything to still be on iPhone 1, but no one's pointed it out. And you're wondering why you're not able to function in today's world. Well, the world kept going. You just didn't keep going with it. And now everything you're doing is outdated. And all it did was take pride and stubbornness to sink in. So that's what today's live is about. And this is what today's Wednesday meeting is about, is doing something different so you can reap differently. So there's 5 areas in which you really need to think differently if you want to be in alignment with your goals. The first area that you need to think differently is about money. Money. Money is just a method of exchange. You get to decide what you're going to exchange it for. It's a resource. I'd like for you to think of money as seed. The same way your time is seed, your energy is seed, your relationships and who you connect with, that's seed. Money is just one type of seed. Now, most of us, right? Most of us don't go around eating seeds all day. You'll always be hungry. We like to eat sunflower seeds occasionally, right? But how many of y'all know you will never ever get full off a sunflower seed? I don't care how much you eat. That's probably why they put so much salt on it, so that you'll just keep eating it because you like the salty taste to it, and you like the texture to it, and you keep eating it, but you keep eating it knowing that you're not going to get full off of it, right? I want you to think of money as the same way. The purpose of seed is for you to put it in the ground so that way it can grow a harvest. One of the main changes that people have to make when it comes to getting to their vision is they have to stop eating their seed and they got to put it in the ground. Thank you so much, Afrocentric. God bless you. One of the main changes that people have to make is to stop eating their seed and put it in the ground. I will say this, right? And you guys know I'm a strong believer, but even before then, just off of just straight wisdom, one thing that I've noticed is that people will always have the seed they need to get their dream started. It's usually right in their hands. I believe that God sets people up that way. Just to see what you're going to do, to see if you're about what it is that you say you're about. There's usually always just enough seed to jumpstart your vision. You may not have a seed for the final season of that vision, but you usually have enough seed to start. And that's where most people get caught up, is that they want to harvest, but they're subconsciously, they never say this out loud. And we never say this out loud. Good day, happy Wednesday. Yes, seed, time, and harvest. Amen. Right? They never say this, but they're expecting a harvest with very little. They want a full harvest with very little to no seed. And so when it's time to grow and it's time for their life to get ahead, they're upset. Like, why is it I'm not seeing results? It seems like nothing's gotten better. Nothing's changed. Nothing's done anything, right? And it's because, friend, you didn't put any seed in. You didn't drop any seeds. You just wanted things to be better, but you either dropped no seed or you had very little seed, meaning there was very little investment. That's not how the world works. You can't be so afraid of losing seed that you miss the entire harvest. That is how money works. That's all it is seed. That's how time works, right? It's seed. So sometimes the seed that you need is actual money and dollars and things of that nature. Sometimes it's time. Usually in the beginning stages, it's a bit of both. Now, with that being said, right, your first step of doing things differently so you can get different results than the average person is to determine what you are going to do and how you are going to invest your seed. Where's your seed going? I posted a video earlier today about one of my past clients and current clients. We just restarted our journey, right? And one of the things she said in the video was, look, when I first started my business, look, my car got repossessed. I'm not saying that any of your cars should get repossessed, right? But she was saying, look, I was living in this tiny apartment with strangers, all these other things, boom, 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 right? I remember my first business, my first year as a business owner, I was sharing a 1-bedroom apartment with like a guy that was like pushing 40, who was like forever bachelor, who split this one bedroom apartment where he slept in the living room, I slept in the bedroom, and we shared a bathroom, right? And and I think we were splitting something like $600 or $700 in rent, something like that. I don't remember the exact amount that the rent was, but it was a pretty low amount. And I think it was 800 or 850 in rent, and I think my rent was like $450, right? Y'all, I lived like that for over at least a year. I can't remember exactly now. It's been a long time ago, right? And why would I do that? And I didn't grow up that way, y'all. I grew up in the suburbs of Atlanta, in a pretty large house, all of these different things. And the reason being was I knew I was going to need that seed for my business. I knew that if I were paying myself crazy amounts of money, to live in more expensive apartments, whatever, that I was taking the seed out of my business. And because my business was brand new, it would be like putting seed in the ground. And as soon as it started to sprout, I'd rip the sprouts out. Putting seed in the ground, as soon as it started to grow leaves, I'd rip it out. And I'd be ripping out the seeds before I can get the full harvest of corn. And it's just like, oh, I got to get this. Let me eat these sprouts. You're not going to get full off the sprouts anyway. You've got to have enough time to put it in the ground and let it grow a harvest. So there were things that during that season, I'll say this, I probably look real ugly. During that season, I wasn't spending a lot of extra money on hair, nails, whatever. We kept things so basic. I had my business suits. I think I had about 6 or 7 suits that I'd wear to my office. I had a Toyota Corolla at that time. Everything was just basic necessities. And what that did was it allowed me to give my business time to grow a harvest. Because here's the thing. Once you have a harvest in your business, the harvest takes care of the seed again, right? We're supposed to have seed bearing fruit and vegetables, right? And when you grow a harvest, there's seed in there. If you guys were to plant some watermelon right now, by the time it grows, you reach that watermelon and you keep all the seed, right? You don't just spit it out and put it in the trash can. You keep all the seed, clean it up, put it in some soil, and grow it again. So maybe the first year it was 10 watermelons. The next year you might have 20, 30, 40, 50, until next thing you know, you got to buy more land to fit all of these watermelons. This is what we don't teach anymore. We teach, look, I want to get as much as possible with as little investment as possible. And anytime you have that mindset, you're also going to be someone that's easily scammed. Easily scammed. You will fall for a digital pyramid scheme. Give me $10,000 to teach you how to create a course to land a high ticket client. Hey, y'all, I'm going to be real honest with you, right? Even I call them my tier 3 clients, right? Even my tier 3 clients, most of the time, it's going to take me some time to land them. And this is with a relationship. Not saying that they won't close them, but I have to make it make sense. What you're doing is landing other people. They're just trying to teach you how to land other people that are dumb enough to give you $10,000 to do nothing. Now, there are some really, really great people that are amazing and that can help you really build out different things, build out things digitally. I think it is smart, a smart business, because it is a business that has a very high profit margin. But you got to know the difference between the two, right? Do I already have an idea? Do I already have a business that I'm going to someone to teach me how to scale? Or am I just looking for something quick? Am I just looking for, I need to make some quick money, boom, 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 boom? It's very likely, if that's the case, that you're going to fall susceptible to a scam. Because people can always smell someone who's hungry and not knowledgeable, right? Awesome. So So your first thing is you have to look at things differently. You have to look at money differently. It's very likely that you already have the seed to start or to scale your business. You just have to ask it, where am I dropping it? Am I dropping my seed in a luxury apartment? Friend, something you'll never own. It will make you feel good. But what I'm not going to do is trade a having a luxury home or purchasing a home or doing whatever that thing would be for you in order to just have a luxury apartment. Now, if you're already there and you already have the money and you're like, look, I can drop my seed, I can invest, I can start this business, whatever, and have more money there. But the truth of the matter is, the majority of people who are on the internet, the majority of you who are watching this live, the majority of people in the United States and abroad are not in that position. How do I know this? The data tells me. The data tells me. Looking at the everyone's average debt, income, debt to income ratios, things of that nature, the majority of people that you meet are not in that position to where they can just afford to live grand and still invest a lot of cash into what you're doing. So look at what it is that you're looking to do. You're next. And what are the startup costs? And ask yourself, A, how can I gather more seed, right? And then how can I do a better job stewarding the places where I'm dropping my seed? Like, hey, I love certain brands, right? But I know they don't really love me. I like it, but they don't love me. Meaning, if you go to Michael Jordan right now, and you can say, man, I've been wearing Jordan shoes for da-da-da-da-da. Hey, Jordan, I've been wearing your shoes since 1993. Can I get $1 million business loan? But Michael, I've been supporting you. I've been loving your stuff. I bought everything. Can I get $1 million business loan? Can I get a $10,000 business loan? I've spent $50,000 in your products alone. Some of y'all have. Some of y'all will spend $1,000 on sneakers a month. You multiply that over the years. You've invested $50,000. Some of y'all upwards of that, right? With Michael Jordan. Same thing with Louis Vuitton. If you spend stupid money on Louis Vuitton, because you go to LVMH right now, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, and say, hey, can I get a $200,000 loan so I can start my business? Oh, I'm sorry, a $200,000 grant. I've already given you the money. Then you'll get kicked out. You'll get kicked out of that building so quick. Thank you so much. And y'all, can we get these likes up to about 4,000? They'll kick you out of the building so much. And so you got to really think about your investment like that, right? What you're investing your money into, if it ever came down to where you had an amazing idea, right? Would they give you the money? I love the fact that I have friends right now to where if I had an amazing idea and I just needed funding, they not only would give me some cash, but they also get on the phone and help me find it. Those are the types of people that I invest in. Yes, I don't have a lot, but I spend money on small things because it makes me happy now. Yeah. And think about it like this, right? Even the small things add up. Most of the time, people already have the seed they need to start up from where they are now. Sometimes, do you guys know the guys who own Airbnb or who owned Airbnb? They started Airbnb by selling cereal. So the money that they had to gain in order to build Airbnb, what they did was they bought a bunch of cereal. I didn't even want to get into all of that. They bought a bunch of cereal and sold cereal, saved the money from the cereal, and used that money to invest in Airbnb. That's when I was talking about, I think he's still on here. Maybe he is. When I talk about a zero debt business plan. Right? Because it's the debt. And what I found is it's the pressure from debt that keeps our minds just going nuts. right? To where we can't get creative, we can't solve challenges, all those things, not because we're not able to, it's just because all of our creative capacity is put on, I gotta go make money. I gotta do this. I just gotta go get a job. I gotta go do this. And you don't have time to bring your dream to life because you spend your lifetime chasing after your debt and all the notes that you've taken out. So that's how we have to start seeing our seed differently. Now, I'm not telling people to just hide all your money under the bed. No, I want you to invest it. But before you start investing it in a lot of consumer products, why not invest it in yourself? Invest it in your farm with whatever dream that you have. So that way, when you invest it in your farm, you never have to go to the grocery store. You can go and spend it on the other things that you want, but all your needs are met by this thing that you've created. So you have to start looking at your money differently. The second thing that you have to do is you start thinking about your time and your energy differently. And I know this sounds really, really basic, but y'all, I promise you, 85% of the time when I'm working with someone, these are the things that trip them up. These are the things that are actual snare for them. The issue is that the person never thinks that this is a snare for them. You've got to look at your time and energy. The same way when you drop seed in the ground, how it's not going to just pop up like that tomorrow. It's the same thing for your business. It's the same thing for your idea. It's the same thing for everything that you have. You put that seed in the ground. It's not going to just pop up like this tomorrow. Thank you so much, Little Wording. It's not going to pop up like this tomorrow. You're going to have to fertilize it. You might have to till the ground a little bit. You might have to move some things. You may even have to plant, something else next to it. You may have to bring in some help. You may have to do all of these things to where you got to give it some time, some love, and some energy. And so you have to start stewarding your time like a leader, like an entrepreneur, like an innovator. People who are in building phases of something aren't spending a lot of time on, BS. They're just not. They're not. Because their time is seed. Think about the conversations we have. Think about your time is even in false relationships. I have seen so many great entrepreneurs go through seasons to where they're just at a flat, they're just at a valley, not because they don't have the money, not because they're not creative, not because they don't have work ethic, not because they're not knowledgeable, but because they have someone in their life that's stealing all of their energy and stealing all of their time. Now, if you're married, look, you're going to have to balance that out. But even then, look, we got to have a conversation about what season of life we're in. If we're in a building phase, we're going to love on each other and build, love on each other and build, right? We're not going to spend it on stupid stuff, on stupidity. But I've seen so many people go through seasons where they did not get a harvest. They didn't make money. They didn't do the things. They didn't hit their goals, not because they were incapable, but because they have people in their lives that most times shouldn't have been there in the first place, stealing all of their energy. Here's another thing I found over the years. It is very, very common for leaders to do what I call evangelidating. You're dating people to change them, to help them. No, send them to therapy, send them to a professional, right? And I've also seen very, very successful people. Usually their early relationships are with people who are jealous of them. It's just someone that wants to look up close. And then eventually, as they start looking up close, and when you're great and you're evangelidating, right, you're typically working with someone. What's up, Good Mood Food? You ready for Monday? Usually, when you look up close, they're dating and in relationships with people who are jealous, who are absolutely jealous of where they are. Y'all, I'm going to say this. There is no one who's jealous of you that is not doing things to tear you down. I've never seen a jealous person without a man. I've never seen a jealous person without a snare or a hook. And the number one way that they slow you down is by distracting you, keeping you away from the exact thing that you're supposed to be doing. Why are you always at work? Fool, you knew I was an entrepreneur. Fool, I told you what my dreams were on my first date. What are you talking about? And there's a difference between being to where you are getting what I call negative returns on your time, meaning you're past the point to where you're exhausted, you're tired, there's nothing that you can do. You're just in there wasting time, making yourself more tired to where you have nothing to give the next day. I'm not talking about that. Good. Good, 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 good. So and awareness is really, really important, right? And this is the thing, the person you're meant to be with, not only are they going to understand your priorities, but they're also going to hold you accountable because they're invested in seeing you reach your full potential. So they're like, what you mean you watching Netflix? I thought you were supposed to be doing this. Shouldn't you be showing some houses right now? How have you watched 15,000 episodes of Real Housewives? And how is it that you've watched 50,000 clips of Sports Center? Fellas that are on here, I love y'all, but Sports Center is the same clips all week. We have earbuds now. Put in your earbud. If you want to hear the same things over and over again, put that earbud in and take your behind to where you're supposed to be and build your dream. You can listen to Sports Center and build a house. You can listen to Sports Center and remodel and flip a house. We all have radios. Now, it ain't like back in the day where you got to worry about disrupting everyone. You can hear and listen to everything you want to listen to just like this, no matter where you are. You can go flip a house and listen to Sports Center. You don't have to sit in the couch. And so you got to make sure that you're stewarding your time well, and your time is an investment. Your time is seed. And so wherever you're spending your time, right, ask yourself, is this thing bearing a harvest? Meaning, if I spend my time with this person, if I'm spending my time in this activity or whatever, how is this benefiting the overall picture of my life? How is this in alignment with the picture of my life? Now, here's the thing. I've often found that we can identify that it bears no harvest and we continue to do it. Then typically those are the areas where we have an addiction. If you're in a relationship that you know is out of alignment with your life's vision, meaning you look at the end of your life, this is how you know what your life's vision is. You think about the final day, in your mind, you fast forward to the final day of your life. And when you look back, what all do you want to see? That's your life vision. So say you fast forward to the final day in your life in your mind's eye, because a vision is just what you see when your eyes are closed, okay? You fast forward to that and you look back and you're like, okay, I was in a relationship. This is the type of relationship that I was in. This is the type of relationship I desired to be in. Loving, boom, boom, boom. When you look back and you see that, and that person's nothing like that, you picture yourself as being married with children. Y'all are happy. Y'all laugh together, whatever. This person's like, I don't want to be married. I don't want to have kids. I don't want to do this. I don't even know if I like this. Woo, woo, woo. You are wasting your time. And when you continue to do that, that's when we have to have a hard truth conversation with ourselves and say, this is an area of addiction for me. It's not them. I'm addicted. I am addicted to being in relationships. I am addicted to having people around me. I am addicted to nearness. I am addicted to those things. And then you have to address the addiction, because if not, it's always going to be a snare for what it is that you're looking to do. Very, very important. And it's very, very key that we all do those things. We all have to do those things. So that's number 2. So the first one is you have to really start looking at money differently, right? You have to start, and the second one is you have to start thinking about your time, your energy, and your relationships differently. Why waste time in any sort of false relationship, false friendships, false any of those things? Sometimes it can be a false relative. Just be all my skin folk and blood folk ain't my kinfolk. Hey, I love you. But just because you're in my family doesn't mean I got to spend all my time with you, especially if you're getting in the way on purpose most of the time, right? Many of us have people who are narcissistic in our families. And here's something I was looking at earlier. This is even more key when you have someone that's narcissistic and getting older. Because as you age, narcissistic supply lowers. I didn't even think about this. So for instance, it's easier to be a narcissist when you're young. You got your face, you out in these streets, you're meeting new people every day, you're doing this, you got all these social activities, people may be attracted to you, all of these different things. As you age, it's not that attraction stops, but it's not at the height in which it was. So it's hard to find narcissistic supply. It's harder to meet new people. It's harder to do all of those different things. And so sometimes you may have family members to where they can't find that supply outside of the family because it's become harder. Auntie so-and-so ain't young and fine and some stuff that moved around, just like it happens to every single one of us, things that moved around a little bit, woo, 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 where it was real easy to find supply. Now it's no longer so easy. So now typically what happens is they start looking for that supply within the family member. This is that family member that every time you're around, they got to make everything about them. They got to cause an argument. They got to be the center of attention. They got to cause drama that causes people to be on the phone back and forth. They got to do something in order to do that. When you are looking to hit your goal, you've got to be willing to come out of alignment with that, because that is the opposition to what you're looking to do. And every time you start the journey of hitting your goal, you're always going to meet a lot of people that suddenly out of nowhere, they just have this intense focus on you. Suddenly everyone wants you. Don't fall for it. So you got to look at your time differently. Does this time produce a harvest? So I have this system that I go through when it comes to time. And over my life, when I notice that this thing gets out of order, I got to come back to this place. And I call it the 3 Ps. I want to invest my time in things that contribute towards my purpose. So your dream in life, your visions, your business, your organization, all of those things are contributing towards your purpose. So that's number 1. Does this contribute to my purpose? That's the first check mark. All right, so maybe it doesn't contribute to my purpose. I'm going to go to the second P. Does it contribute towards my peace? You got to have some peace. Y'all, it's during those peaceful times, that's when I think of my best ideas. That's when I'm like, usually when I need an aha moment, that's usually the moment in which I find it, is when I'm in a place of peace. So does this thing contribute towards my peace? Right? The last P, and this is the last check mark you want to do, is does this contribute towards my sense of play? Meaning every single one of you guys needs to do something, right? Something for fun that you do just for the sake of having fun. Doesn't mean you have to do it every day. When you're in a building phase, you may not be able to do this every day. You may not be able to do this every hour. But when you're not in a building phase and you're in a season where it's like, okay, I have this harvest or whatever, maybe you spend more time in play. You just got to know what season you're in, but you still have to have that, meaning everyone needs to do something that's just fun and that's just enjoyable. All right. If any person, place, or thing doesn't align with one of those P's, what am I doing? That's usually when you found a time waster, right? Like, so maybe you like to crochet, right? Okay, does crocheting give you a sense of peace? Okay, do it for an hour. Do it for whatever, right? But anytime you have people and things that don't contribute to those three things, typically it's a time waster. Now, the second thing that you have to do when it comes to that with your time, right, is that you have to give it boundaries that make sense because you want to look at it in a place of balance. If you're in a building season, do you want the majority of your time investment to be into areas of play? No. That doesn't mean you don't play at all, ever. Why? I have found that when people are in building seasons and they get so serious that they never play, what ends up happening, I'm going to say this slowly, they end up resenting the same thing that they're building. And they resent it not because it's a bad thing. They begin to resent it because they didn't get in balance with it. Human beings are not built to just go and stop. You just have to determine what your sense of play is. For instance, for me, my sense of play does look like going. I like to dance, I like to hike, I like to do this, that, and the third, to where that is relaxing for me. Other people, relaxing maybe watching a movie, right? Hence us being offered. Exactly. Because every once in a while, guess what? You got to do that. You got to do that. So that way you don't resent the thing that you're building. Because I see that all the time. People come to me, I need help, da, 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 da. And the first thing I say is, hey, for some people, hey, what's something really fun that you could do for just you? I had a client 3 months ago. I said, I start looking online. What do you like to do? I like to fish. I like to do this. And I just start looking up Airbnbs, cabins in the forest. Look, you got the money. If you could pay me, you could pay for this. Because you can't afford to not do this. Because if you don't do this, you're going to shut down completely. And this whole business is going to go down anyway. No. Go ahead and pay this $700, $500 or whatever. Take your fishing equipment. And when you leave on Friday, you go straight to that place and you stay there. And if you have to leave from that place, bring your suit with you. If you have to leave from that place on Monday morning and go straight to your office, if that's what you need to do that. But you can't afford to not go. Because if you shut down, and this is what we do when we don't keep that in balance, we'll shut down and say, man, forget this. And you think it's because you really don't want to do it anymore. And really you are out of balance. So when you're in a building phase, it's not all play, but you need to make sure that you still do that. Even God told us we need to have a Sabbath. If he's like, look, every week you need to have a day of rest. If your creator said you need to have absolutely with nothing, a day of rest, is true. Like, I built this technology and I know what this technology needs. This technology needs rest. So do that. So that's how you look at your time. And then anything that's not really in there, typically it's a time waster, right? For instance, like, I may, even though we're on social media right now, but at a certain point, that's not really play. Because typically your mind is being very stimulated. You're typically taking in trash stuff, whatever. I feel great that I'm providing valuable information that we're out here. But let's be honest, how many things that we're absorbing are valuable? Most of it's gossip. Most of it's weird things. There are some valuable things and insightful things on there, but you got to be really particular about what you like and interact with to make sure that it stays that way. So that's the first thing that you want to do. So make sure that your time, thank you so much. Make sure that your time and energy, you got to change the way that you think about it. Most people are not going to think this way. So this is a hard thing. When you want to do something different, you're going to be different from everyone else. Everyone else may get home and watch 4 hours of TV and it's nothing, but they also don't have the same goals as you, right? And guess what? That when we were talking about all that stuff with AI, that stuff's going to slap them in the face and you would have already had the money, the XYZ, all that stuff set up. All right. Third thing, right? How you see people. Y'all, especially many of you guys who are entering or in the early phases of building your businesses and your dreams or whatever. No, I'm not that's a lie too, because sometimes people get real high up and I still got to check on this. Yeah, that's a lie. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to start you guys off right. And if you're already in this, we're going to make some corrections. People are not cattle. People are not robots. No one has to work for you. It is a privilege to have employees. It is a privilege to have someone help you to make your vision come to life. It's a privilege. When you start your vision, one, it better be big enough. It better be big enough to be able to encompass someone. It is very, very hard to attract employees when subconsciously your goal is to be a mom and pops. I'm sorry. It's hard to attract and keep great employees when at the point your job is just to have I just want this to be successful. It's hard, y'all. When you start dreaming, you got to dream big, because when you hire people, the only way that they're going to stick is they know that they have somewhere to go from here. Thank you so much, little wordy. God bless you. They have to know that there's somewhere to go. That's hard. And the reason that it's hard, right? And some of y'all haven't even thought about this yet, but I'm just going to tell you. The reason it's hard is because most of the time when we start businesses, ideas, or whatever, we start it with a question mark. Can this be successful? And then you have to muster up all of your confidence, all of everything to at least try it, right? And when you start something as a check mark, you're really in survival mode. How can we make this thing work? What you have to do is start your business with a period until something else tells you otherwise. This thing is going to be successful. What I have to do is work it and to the point to where it reaches the pinnacle of success, but it's going to be successful. And you start that with the final picture of where this is going and build your business based upon the final picture that you see. And then you recruit and hire and do all of those things based on the final picture. But everything that you build is going to require, anything that you build that is of value is going to require the help and buy-in of others. It is. Maybe in the early stages, you may be able to do it with just you or you and your partner, what have you, right? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because we all need to build a solid enough foundation for another person to stand on. I think that's the most humane and compassionate thing to do is, look, me and you are going to put in some extra hours, some extra time, so that way we're compassionate enough to build a business that has a foundation that's strong enough for someone to stand on. So that way when we bring them in, we can be good shepherds and they know, hey, I'm starting in this person's company, I'm working here, what have you. They have built something that I can stand myself on and my future on and my household on. That is totally fine. Once you're past that point though, because sometimes we try to extend that point into forever. Okay. And usually when you extend it into forever, you usually start to get negative returns, meaning it's costing you more and opportunity losses than what it is in actual revenue that you would have invested. Hey, Noreen. So a lot of times that's the place in which people get into. So the first step is you have to say, look, one, when it comes to relationships, employees, and things of that nature, yes, I am absolutely going to build this thing up. No question. But number two, there's no one here that has to work for me and has to help me build my dream. I'm going to say this, and many people are probably going to be like, when they watch this on YouTube or whatever. Many of today's business practices still shows and still demonstrates the slave master mentality within all races. You should feel lucky to have a job. You should be lucky that you make any money here. You don't have to work. Da, 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 da. Okay, great. I understand that. Should people be grateful for working? Yes, because it's not until you don't have work that you're like, oh, Lord, I'm happy for this job. I get that. There's a certain level of that, right? But for the most part, 99% of the time, it's the employer that's lucky. Hey, I am so happy that I have someone that is willing to invest their time and their energy into their time, their energy, and their ideas, and their gifts, and their personality. I'm so happy that I have someone that's willing to invest their best into my dream. Y'all, when you start your businesses with that as the foundation, hiring is so easy. Attracting the right people is so easy. Doesn't mean that they'll never mess up. Even the disciples messed up with Jesus. But for the most part, it's not catastrophic. For the most part, it's usually just growing pains. And we all deal with growing pains. But everything that you build will require the buy-in and the help of individuals. And if it doesn't require that, right, you have not started dreaming enough. So you got to really look at that differently, and that'll change the way that you treat your partners. It'll change the way you treat your patients. It'll change the way you treat your clients. It'll change the way you treat your employees. And when everyone within your dream is bought in on your dream, things go smoothly, right? When you don't do that, you're in a place to where, and you're creating an environment where everyone's withholding their gifts. Anytime that's out of alignment, you have most businesses, and even when I work with what I call my tier 3 clients. My tier 3 clients are usually people within large corporations that have 100 plus employees, that sort of thing, right? I'll say for me, even if you have 60 plus employees, 50 plus employees, right? For me, that's a tier 3 client. Typically, when I start working with my tier 3 clients, they're like, we need more people. We got to have this. We need this, blah, blah, blah. We got to increase hiring or whatever. And when I look, it's like, before we do that, can we talk about the number of people that are withholding their gifts because of grievances? Meaning you have gifted people here. They're just choosing not to apply them in this workplace. Can we talk about why? Now, some of it may be them, but if there's 100 employees, it ain't all, there's no coincidence that 90% of them are withholding their gifts or withholding their talents. You might have one or two, but if the majority of them, if 60% of them are withholding their gifts, withholding their talent, withholding all of these things, that's one change that happens for free. You don't have to go hire 10,000 more people. If we could just get everyone that's operating at 100% capacity. But that starts, and I'm saying this early because many of you guys are early in your journey, right? Early in your journey. If you make that switch and you just get that cemented in your mind today, right? You will save time and you can grow your idea. When you have that great harvest, you're not going to be in a place where it's like the harvest is great, but the workers are few. The harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. What are we going to do? Because that can also put you in a position. So just from these 3 points, if you apply these 3 points, you'll make the difference. Number 4, you have to understand and follow data. This is hard. The reason being is that most entrepreneurs are visionaries. They just feel certain things. There are people that like, hey, I got this idea. Let me just go do it, and they're creative and they have all of these different things, right? And how do we know? Because you created this idea, you got this idea. Why don't we do this? Wouldn't it be cool? And the fact that you followed up on this, wouldn't this be nice? Wouldn't it be cool if? And you followed up on the vision, follow up on the dream. If you're not there yet, many of you guys are going to be there very soon. So creative people, visionary people tend to go based on feel and intuition for many things, okay? I'm not saying that needs to stop. What we have to do is bring that into balance. For everything that we want to do, there's always data and metrics that need to be followed. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's your weight. I don't care if it's your business. If you're trying to make more money, you're trying to gain more customers, you're trying to do whatever. There are always clues being left behind that tells you what's happening and what's missing. But most of us who are in this realm of life, we don't follow it and we don't track it. We're just like, look, I'm just go out here. Let's see what happens. How much money did I make? Okay, cool. I'm just go out here, say something that happens. No, but the data is what shortens the time, and following the data and making decisions based on the data is what shortens the time between whenever you start, the goal that you have, and where you need to go. Why? The data is what allows you to make incremental changes along the way that's going to allow you to blow up your business and figure out exactly what works. Every time you start an idea, there is a magic formula, but you don't know the formula until you start. And the formula is not going to be the same for every single business, but for many businesses, the data you should follow is the same. The formula is going to be slightly different based upon the market you're in. For instance, people in Atlanta, Georgia, are very different from people in New York City. And I have clients in both. When I go to New York City, I got to change my whole everything. I got to get my mind right. I have to get my approach differently, how I recruit differently, the types of conversations that I have, the tone that I use. For instance, if I use the same tone that I would use from someone in Atlanta as I do in New York City, and I'm sitting down one-on-one, the person in New York is going to think I'm trying to pull something on them. Hey, how are you? They're going to look at me like I'm crazy, or they're going to be like, what is she trying to pull? Because the mentality is different. So the formula for your business is going to be different because typically your client is different. Your niche is different. Look, Good Mood Food, I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. I'll give y'all an example. I was in one of my clients' businesses, and I'm one of those things to where if they have me come to their business, and there is a section for some of my clients to where I'll actually go to their business and work with them for a full day, a week, or something like that. So this is one of those times where I was working with one of my clients where I was working there for a week, and I'm like hands-on, boom, 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 yada, yada, yada. So I needed to help this person recruit. So if I'm there and I'm like, look, we need to hire some people. Look, you get on the phone. I get on the phone. We're going to call some people. We're going to set up some interviews. You're going to interview on this day. I'm going to interview on this day. By the time I leave, you're going to have somebody great sitting in this business. Okay. You're going to be in this office and this whatever. Right. So I'm calling and I'm being nice or what have you. And these people are cutting me off while I'm talking. Da, da, da. It wasn't until I was like, look, don't cut me off. I have da da da, and I'm just being direct. And the people I'm calling, they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll come in." Right? Or one person's like, "Well, how about this? How about this?" And I literally said, I would never say this in Atlanta. I literally said, "I can tell you if you would let me get a word in. Everything you're asking me, I'm answering right now. Just give me a second." Oh, okay, cool. I could never say that in Texas. I could never say that in Atlanta. I would have so many negative Google and Glassdoor and every other comment review ever. But in New York, it was like, oh, yeah, cool. What's up? Well, why you ain't just say that in the first place? What? I'm saying that to say, that's why you have to get stuff right. Listen, I'd be banned off of everything if I did that. Every single business has a formula, and as you start, you're learning what that formula is. That's why it's so important for many of you guys to start this process. And so you gather the data, right? Good Mood Food. I'm actually, that's going to be some of your homework that I'm sending out on Friday, is to figure out the data that you need to gather and ways to measure this data. You gather the data because the data is what's screaming things need to change. You just got to slow down long enough and develop systems that allows you to see the data. And what you do is you make incremental changes based upon these things, incremental changes that allows you to slowly navigate your way to your final result and to see what the formula is for your business. Now, here's the thing. You can find the formula, but you also are gathering data so you can go back to this formula and see, has something changed? Has something changed in the market? Has something changed with people? Has culture changed? Anything like that. So that way it's not just a one-time thing. That's why we develop systems to allow us to do this regularly. All right. So that's number 4. You have to understand the data. All right. And number 5, you have to be willing to make consistent changes, consistent and incremental changes to your strategy. No, you would think that this just goes without being said, right? Like, of course you got to make changes. No, y'all, I work with a lot of people that they're like, that's just not how I do. That's just not how we do things. Okay, cool. Right? 10 years ago, I would have never come on live on TikTok. But you got to go where the people are. I would have been doing all this. I would have been like, look, let's put an ad up here. Let's pay for this. Da, 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 da. Look, y'all, I'm not about to do anything that is expensive and ineffective. Why? Because people respond better to other things. Times have changed. But here's the thing. Like we talked about at the beginning of the live, we talked about AI and things like that. With technology, times have changed, but they change more often and harder. Right? Now I do Good Mood Food. I do use ads sometimes for certain things, but I really just look at what is my return. There's so much of my business that doesn't require it, but the parts that do, I'll invest it. But because I'm not heavily invested, it's not a big deal for me. And it really just depends on what it is I'm trying to achieve. So like right now I'm like, hey, look, I see what my business goals are for new clients, but I know like, look, I already have this number of people doing this over here, whatever. Look, this is the area of my business that I'm looking to enhance. Okay. So you have to be willing to make consistent changes to your business, right? It's cool that it seems like you're medium. See? Yeah. I would have never done that. Even me doing this now, because I've always been someone, and I will recommend that all of you guys do this. I am a strong believer that, especially for many of you, a lot of your future business is typically already within your network. I just noticed that people tend to go to their network last instead of first. And so I'm typically getting new clients and new business from my network first. So this is like me reaching outside of my normal network, but it's also stretching for me because, my network already know what kind of people I'm dealing with, all of these different things. I usually get the scoop about that person, but I don't know about that. Da, da, da. So, but just being willing to expand because I'm like, okay, look, I've already reached this goal. We're going to have to go to this next level. I'm going to have to expand upon that and start the process of doing that. So you got to be willing to make consistent changes to your strategy, right? Exactly. Thank you so much. You have to be willing to make consistent changes to your strategy, but that is externally in your business, but also internally. Sometimes we'll make external changes, but we didn't change the internal. Both of those things have to be consistent. You guys ever seen, I've seen it all the time where, you ever go to a place that looks really fancy but everyone that works there is hood. They have sideways customer service, everything. And I'm not talking about this from like a classism type way. You go in the place and the place looks amazing. Service, trash. Employees, trash. Training, you can tell the training was trash. They made all of the external changes, right? To where you go in, it's like, oh, it looks good. And then you're like, hold on. The outside is nothing like the inside. If I'm going to invest in anything, I'm going to invest in the internal changes first, get the full result from that, and then take that money and change the outside of it. You know, the outside will attract people in, but it's what's in there that's going to keep them in the house. You know, if you go to the outside of someone's house and it's well landscaped and manicured, and you walked in and there was rats and dirt on the ground and, you know, draws everywhere and dog feces. Any of y'all have cleaning businesses, you've probably seen this before, where the math ain't math and you're like, oh, somebody crazy living here. They just got a lot of money. Right? And they're not getting any company, friend. Big old house is empty because the outside doesn't match the inside. So these are 5 like tangible things to change, to where if you do that, yeah. And this is why I'm saying that the inside, you have to make the internal changes, because we tend to attract people like ourselves. So if you're like, none of my employees are organized, you're probably disorganized, friend. My employees are not friendly. You guys need to be nicer to customers. Are you nice? It's very likely you're not friendly. It's very likely you're not friendly, friend. Just want you to know that. You know, I hear it all the time. They're just so inconsistent. There's 2 things that you're always going to attract that are going to be just like you: your customers, right? And your employees. That's why it's so great to be authentic, because when you're authentic, you will attract people that are more like you. Doesn't mean that they have, like, my clients are very much not like me, like, not same personality, but we tend to have like very similar values. Like, all of my clients, I can say, are really just good people, like just really good humans. And I'm like, and what it does is it makes me want to bend over backwards for them, because I'm one of those people to where I want to see all of y'all good humans win. Because there's too many people that are loud and wrong that are out here winning races that y'all are actually supposed to be the ones meddling in. I'm so tired of seeing people do interviews that have no integrity. I'm so tired of watching people on platforms that have no integrity. And I can't get mad at them. It's just that the people who have it a lot of times are not, they're too delayed. They're distracted. They're questioning themselves. They're unwilling to invest. They're unwilling to make the changes. They're procrastinating. They're still second guessing themselves, right? And they're like, well, I can't do it because I'm not like them. And I'm like, the reason you're going to win even bigger is because you're not like them. And just being where I am and some of my experiences, I'm like, y'all, I know a lot of these people that y'all idolize that cheat people all the time. It's just a matter of time before it comes out. I'm not blaming them. It's just, you know, darkness is just an absence of light. That's it. So I want to see great people with great integrity that know how to treat clients and know how to treat employees, that follow through with what they're going to say, what they say they're going to do, who are going to go above and beyond, whose yes is a yes, whose no is a no. People like that win. But oftentimes what I notice is people like that often lack the confidence and also spend so much time in self-doubt. And this will be my final point. People like that tend to want certainty instead of clarity. I watch so many people lose because they want to be certain that something is going to work out before they start. Friend, there's nothing in life that is certain. The only thing you can be certain about is yourself. God told us we have to have faith. And he reveals himself from faith to faith. That means from the moment you got the idea or the direction, all that in between, and to the point in which you saw it happen, all of that in between, that's the faith to faith. You got to be willing and able to deal with the in between and still walk. And that's the thing about business is it is a risk. And think about the things that are very certain tend to have a very low reward. And if you refuse to do anything unless you're absolutely certain, you will always be a slave to the world's system. And that's one thing I can be certain about. Because you'll never take a chance on yourself. All the people who will never take a chance on themselves, never take a chance on their ideas, right? They are immediately have to, they're buying into having to submit to the will, the dreams, the rules of others. Y'all, there's been so many times where I took a chance on myself and went against the grain and even went against what people told me to do. I remember I had a colleague one time, I was going to buy a house and it's like, well, why would you buy a house right now? I mean, I don't know if the market's great and, you know, maybe you can afford a bigger house or maybe this and you're not married yet. Like, what if, you know, a lot of times women, if you get married, then, you know, the men don't want to marry women with houses. It was just all this other stuff. But really what it was is that, you know, a lot of times people will want to keep you on a ball and chain. The more independent you get, there's something in the back of their mind that says this person's going to leave me, they're going to trigger me or whatever. And so you have to, like, sometimes people will give you advice that's not the best for you, it's the best for them. And I have to be like, look, you know, and I said this to myself. I was like, I know what I heard. I know what God is telling me to do. I'm certain about this, right? I wasn't clear about how everything would work out, but guess what? I took that chance. And guess what? Girl's married in that house. Husband built out a whole music studio downstairs. Now I'm like, do we want to get another house? He's like, man, look, this amount of space, we can just remodel this. And he been remodeling the house. Right? Because I'm like, look, for this same size house in Atlanta, I'm gonna have to pay a good $400,000 or $500,000 more. So glad I follow God and not man. If God be true, let every man be a liar. Thank God I did. Right. They go together. Thank God I did. What a great interest rate. Now we have options. Now we making money in this house. It has enough room. And then the thing was, this big old house, what kind of man's gonna marry a woman with a big old house like that? Da da da. We making money in this big old house. This big old house getting tax write-offs. This big old house has enough room for us, the kids, the dogs, a music studio, my office, bicycles, guests, inventory, Thanksgiving friends. Every time I turn around, especially in summertime, we're never in this house alone. Also, not only did I get married, I got married to a man that got 8 siblings. This house ain't never empty. Especially not in summer. Thank God we got some room. I didn't know that. I'm the only child. Right? What if I would have listened to those people instead of to God? Paying $300,000 and $400,000 and $500,000 more for a house that's smaller. What? And we had that conversation. I was like, look, I'm just going to show you a house this size, what this costs now. Is this what we want to do? No. He was like, no. Ooh, right. Exactly. So this is why you have to be, you have to be willing to have clarity about what you want, to change your question marks into periods and make the investment and steward. And guess what? That little idea, don't let anyone tell you about, oh, that little idea. I had a lady the other day was like, yeah, my friend, she was like, oh, yeah, I like your little hobby. Y'all, if y'all have anyone where you tell them you're dreaming, they call it a little hobby, that ain't your friend. And I said, look, ma'am, what's even if it is a little hobby, guess what? This little hobby, when I decided I was going to work for myself and start my own business, this little hobby and grow my business, this little hobby sustained me. The thing that was my little side hustle made it to where I didn't have to go to work. And I had time to go and build my business. This little hobby. But guess what? Someone will criticize you about your little hobby and their main job ain't paying the bills. No, that stuff vexes my spirit. I can't even think about it. Just that kind of stuff really, really gets to me. It really gets to me, y'all. Don't, if you have people like that in your life, right? Get it. So if you guys know for sure that you're like, well, she's speaking to me, you need to sign up for 30 to Eden. It's for 30. It's for 30 days. It starts on Monday. I'm going to mentor you for 30 days through the process of either bringing your dream to life or helping you to scale the business that you've already started. Click the link in my bio and click, as soon as you click it, go to register for 30 Eden and enroll today. Because early bird ends tomorrow because we need to get everybody on here just going. Right? Register. That little hobby that you have, it's going to sustain you. That little hobby that you have may be the exact thing you need to get out of debt. I remember my first year of my little hobby, right, that I just did in the little 1 and 2 hours when I was done coaching and everything else, made me an extra 30K. My little hobby. I'll never forget. That lady was, and the part that really upset me about it is the woman that told me that, I could tell it had really hurt her. She said that had been her friend for 40 years. I can tell it really got to her. Right? That's not what you need when you're on this journey. When you go online and you're looking at all these people, first off, I'm telling you, most of them are not the real thing. I'm telling you, most of them are not the real thing. Statistics show it. A lot of it is a shell of a thing. The second part to it is everything that you may look at someone and kind of sigh about, like, man, da da da. God's already given you a dream, a business, a vision that would get you there plus more. You're looking at a small percentage of what you could be doing if you were to follow his instructions. Many of you guys are probably getting these same downloads that I've gotten, right? But you need someone to push you to follow through with it so that you can get a taste of it and you can see, oh, there's really not this big monster on the other side. Y'all, let me tell you, there's nothing to what you want to do except the work. It's never as easy as we think it's going to be, but it's also never as hard as we think it's going to be. And it's a process. Sometimes we're looking at our vision and we're looking at it, 30, 40 years out. The picture that we see may be years out. Thank you. And really, you're seeing things, but you still got to break it down into seasons. Right? Like I think I posted one of my clients, she said she had a 300% return, right? Yeah, we did get her revenue up by 300%. But guess where we started? 10, 15% increases, 30, 40, right? Then by the time we get to 50, that thing is just going like this. It takes time. So, and it's going to be the same thing for you. The things that you need to do to move to the next level, it's going to take time, but you can get there. But let me tell you one thing about time, right? The same amount of time it takes you to build your dream and to build your business is the same time it's going to take you to not do it. 5 years going to pass by regardless. 10 years is going to pass by regardless. I ain't messing with you today. But yes, I do. I'm answering that question for everybody else because I already know how you like to do. 10 years is going to pass by regardless. So you're either going to spend 10 years building your dream or 10 years not building your dream and then looking back and regretting it. And then you play with then you got this whole mind issue of it might be too late. I'm too old. I don't know my kids. Maybe I wait till my kids out of school. Maybe I do this. Maybe I do that. Guess what I do? The same little girl that's getting picked up from school right now, you know what she'll be with me on Saturday? Vending. To the point to where at 11 years old, I wouldn't do this because obviously I'd be in trouble and I would never do that. But I can literally take her to the business and she knows, and to an event, I can take her to a pop-up shop and she knows how to do everything. I can literally just sit there and read a magazine. And she knows how business works. She knows how to market. She knows how to take pictures. She knows how to greet customers. She knows how to slide credit cards. She take the little cash app. She knows how to do everything. So she's learning twice. Now she's realizing, oh, if I make money, all I gotta do is go out and get some. I don't, if they don't want to hire me, that's fine. So instead of thinking, oh, with my kids, da, da, da. And I started her on that when she was 8 or 9. Follow us, take this card, give this to a friend, sign up for the email list. Right? Messing around, that business might be hers. Same thing for my eldest. That thing might end up being hers when she's a teenager. She may not have to go to McDonald's. She's gonna work. She's gonna do something, right? But she may not have to go to that. What if that little hobby of yours, that little dream of yours, is the first thing that teaches your child work ethic? So they won't be like some of these other kids. Give me. My name is Jimmy, and expecting that everyone's gonna give them something. Because I'm scared for what we're doing with some of our children. They'll just cash app you in a second. Won't even tell you what it's for. You just something hit your phone. What? What happened to going down to Burger King, working them little 2 hours? They're gonna give you some little hours. You know. Now they just cash app you. They don't even have to go up there. All they want to do is cash app you, play video games, and glue their hair down. I ain't got. I don't have time for that. That's not necessities. So click the link, and how it's going to work is we're going to meet twice a week. And instead of me speaking generally about the things that you can do, we're going to speak specifically. For instance, I have the young lady but this is for a volunteer for like high school girls and things like that, right? To where we're speaking specifically about something that you're trying to bring and give you specific deliverables and specific action items that's going to make sure that you birth and grow this thing, to make sure that you produce a harvest, and to give you the foundation to where if you work these systems, you embrace the mindsets, you just keep this ball rolling, you're going to reap a harvest, and then you're going to keep reaping and you're going to keep utilizing the system until you are one of those people that's seeing a 300%, 400% return, and to make sure that you're just on track. And the reason why it's for the month, because some people are like, why for the month? Because I want it to actually work. And, I'd love to say that if I talk to you for 1 second, that it's going to keep you on track. But it takes 2 weeks to create a habit and 2 weeks to see results. So that's a month. Right? I want it to work. I want you to work. I need more people, and we need more people that have clarity and are confident enough and willing to bet on their idea and to give your idea a chance. Can you give your business the light of day? If you think about it all the time, it's something you want to do. If you look at other people and say, man, I wish it was like that. Oh, this person's like some of these people's lives that you guys follow like crazy are the reason you follow them, and you're all into the details of this. Oh, she got this going on. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I love that. I love the support, everything. But some of the reason why y'all are so deep into it is because that's what you actually want to do. Why live vicariously through them when you can go and do the same thing? So I need every single one of you guys, go to the link in my bio. You might have to leave for a second. Click it, scroll down, click 30 to Eden, sign up. So that's 1, 2, 3 clicks. It's still early bird. It's a steal. I don't even need a whole lot of people to do it. Quite honest, I have some more clients in another division of employee development that I'm slow to enroll right now. Mainly because, okay, y'all. So when I'm talking about innovating in my business, one of the things that I started doing was offering employee development, because it is hard to continue to develop employees. You can train them, but development is hands-on. And many entrepreneurs are just really busy and just need support with that. So I started doing it, and I built such a great relationship to where I have about, I think about right now about 35 students in my employee development group. And so, and I host workshops and things like that for them. And many of them are graduating. And typically what I do is I only work with them for 12 weeks, right? 12 weeks is enough to get them going, whatever. And then if that employer decides, hey, I want to bring them back in a year or two or something like that, cool. But then we just kind of move on to the next. And so I have people that are scheduled to graduate right now that are like, Yannick, I need you to tell my boss that I need to stay in this. I just don't feel like this is done. I was like, look, the relationship's not over. But at this point of where you are, I need you to go and use what it is that you've learned and then come back when you're at the next level or the next step. At this point, you've absorbed enough. You got to fly now. Some of you guys are like that. You've been researching in this business. You've watched every YouTube video. You've done everything, but you still have not started. You got to fly. 30 to Eden is going to help you to fly. You're waiting for things to be perfect. Perfect weather, perfect environment, perfect time, perfect money. Y'all, anything that's worth it is never going to be perfect. There's never a perfect time to have kids. There's never a perfect time to get married. There's never a perfect time to start a business. Nothing. But what you do is get the controllables in your favor. Maybe you're like, look, I'm going to start this business, but I'm gonna go ahead and pay off some of this credit card debt. That little $1,000 that's been sitting over there, let me pay that off so I'll have that extra whatever income to go towards my business. And you start making decisions that can set you up with a foundation, give you some breathing room. Because I do believe that you have to, create some breathing room. But I'm gonna tell you, it was some of my little hobbies and things like that that helped me to, pay off debt and all this other stuff. But you got to create some breathing room. Thank you so much, Afrocentric. Some of y'all like that. Y'all been, So with this particular, there's a few of them. With these particular people, I was like, look, y'all got to go back to your boss. You good? And they're like, well, can we have another? So the reason I'm saying it is I need to think a few steps ahead, because there are people who are graduating from my employee development that still want to continue to work, but I haven't necessarily finished thinking through what I'm going to do with those people and if I should or what have you. And so I'm saying that to say I have some people that I'm onboarding from some other companies that I'm like, okay, I just started this particular division and this particular service and offering. And I'm like, okay, Yanni, you and the Lord are going to have to sit out and think this through. I need to be able to fast forward this. What am I going to do with these extra babies? Because it's going to go from 35 to 70 to 100 to whatever of these people that I've built relationships with. And when you work with someone for the course of months and you're talking with them every week for months, thank you so much, Bad Apple, every week for months and months and months, of course you're building a relationship with them. And anyone that helps you, what have you, you're going to feel connected to them, whatever. And so I got to figure out, like, Yannick, you got all these babies coming in. What you going to do with them next? Because thank you so much. Because some of them are showing me that they're feeling abandoned. And I'm trying to tell them, like, look, I'm not abandoning you. But what we're not going to do is you're going to get addicted to education. I need you to balance out your education with execution. And so that's why many of you guys need to be in this meeting with me on Monday. So this is what's going to happen. You're going to click the link in my bio, click register for 30 to Eden, enroll, click the enroll button, do your thing, right? And I'm going to send you out the materials, your vision workbook, and I'm also going to send you a form to fill out. You're going to fill that form out, send it back to me, so that way I can know your situation, know what you're looking to do, know your industry, look at your social media handles, look at everything. So that way I'll be able to provide you with the support that you need. And then we're going to start off strong this Monday, starting on Monday, and then we'll meet twice a week. And then every single week, you're going to send me feedback email based upon the action items in the homework. So this is my way of making sure that not only you're learning, but you're also taking the action and the steps that's going to help you to push this thing or grow this thing. Meaning, by the end of it, I need you guys to eat the fruit of it. What that means is I need you to taste what progress is like. A big secret of mine is to help people see quick progress so they can get addicted to the progress. Some of you guys haven't started because you haven't tasted it. Like, there's certain things that like you wish you would have never started. Like, I wish I would have never tasted a margarita. I don't have a strong desire for them anymore, but for years, right? Some of y'all still addicted to people that you should have never had a taste of, knowing that they wrong. Okay? But the same thing can happen when it comes to your dreams. Sometimes they always stay in that little area, and good mood, you already know. Look, we married, but there's been times where we weren't married. We still got girlfriends and friends, right? I love them strawberries, right? There's times where we still got friends. It's like, you should have never gave Paul your number. You should have never gave Dante, Felicia, whoever, your information, because how y'all gonna be on a on again, off again relationship for 15 years? This ain't how y'all gonna be forever special friends. Y'all been special friends for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That doesn't make sense. But the same way that you can, that could be something that you're like, man, I should have never tried. Exactly, Bad Apple. Right? It's the same thing when it comes to your ideas, to where once you try it and you try it the right way, you can be like, oh, hold on. Now, if I already signed my first client, if I do this a few more times, I'll have 2. Then I'll have 3. I'll have 4. I did this, or I did that, or I started the food truck, or I went to the restaurant, or I started this or that, whatever that thing is, you get to taste that. Then your wallet gets to taste it. Your bank account starts looking different, all of these things. And so I want to show you guys how you can do that and bring it so that way you just kind of get back into shape again. Because sometimes you can leave something, or you can just, it's not that it's going to be hard. It's just you're out of shape. And you need someone to help you get back into shape. So go to the link, click and roll. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. If y'all been in here sitting for almost 2 hours, if you could sit here and listen to me for 2 hours, why not get the specific information that's going to help birth out the dream? And there's no coincidences y'all landed here. And this is a real thing. It's no coincidence, because y'all been sitting here listening, and most of the time, and I ain't talking about no gossip. We're not talking about anything negative. We're talking about real life things. Click the link, sign up, register, and be prepared to join. Be prepared to finish this thing up, and we're going to get this thing started. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to make sure you guys are empowered, and that you'll really get to understand the fact that, like we talked about earlier with AI, that vexed me too. That man said, y'all, I'm not going to lie. I got to be honest. When I listened to that CEO say, the reason, let me read it, because I got so upset that I was really watching the video, watching this guy's speech, right? This is why it's important to go into places you normally wouldn't go into, be around people, sit in on conversations that normally your algorithm won't choose. You know, that's why sometimes you got to search for different, because you come up on some stuff. You're like, hold on, what? This man said there's a belief in the market that the invention of intelligence has an infinite return, meaning the inventions of intelligence has an unlimited return on investment, meaning they can make as much money as they want to. Don't y'all already have infinite intelligence? The same people that invest billions of dollars into artificial intelligence, ask them to spend $2 on somebody's education. Right? No, they make you spend $100 grand on your own education, so you can go and make their company $5 billion. The same ones is like, oh, for real? No, you have to have a triple MBA, so you can come into my company. You can get $300,000 into debt, so you can come to my company and make me $25 million. These same individuals are saying, we just understand that there's infinite returns on infinite, what was it? Infinite, what you call it? I wrote it down, and he said it's so slick, and he didn't even mean it. It was honest, right? Invention of intelligence has an infinite return. The only difference is that's intelligence that they can control. They can't necessarily control you, unless it's just through the allure, right, and the illusion of stability, which some of it is. So I'm saying that to say, y'all, click the link in my bio, sign up for 30 to Eden. I'd love to talk to you guys more, but if you want to talk more, all this stuff, sign up, and we'll be talking twice a week, starting on September 9th, all the way to October the 4th. Yes, the 4th. It's the first Friday in October. And we'll be speaking about your specific situation. I promise you I won't bite. I'm a nice person. I will hold you accountable. I will push you and empower you. You might feel a little uncomfortable, but it's like more of like light. I'm not going to say birthing pains, but like think about birthing pains with like a light epidural. That's what it's going to be like. Meaning it's going to be uncomfortable because it's going to address all of the excuses you've been making, right? But you deserve the life. The same people you follow, you deserve that too. The things that you deserve it too. You deserve happiness. One of the things that I love the most about what I do is I make money in areas of life that I feel passionate about. This feels amazing to me because it's a passion of mine, right? You deserve that. You deserve to earn income and to live and thrive on things that you have a true interest in. Things that don't feel like that doesn't feel mind numbing to you. You deserve that. You deserve to live a life that is fulfilled from the top and the bottom. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what that thing is because I know you know what it is. You just have to have the guts to go out there and do it. So thank you guys so much. Like I said, my name's Yannick. Click the link in bio. Today is the last day, I believe. What's today? Wednesday, Thursday. Either way, today is going to be one of the last days. If not today, I have to see what I put in my email. The early bird is super accessible. So do that, and I will see you guys later. And for those of you guys who are going to be on Bible study tonight, that's where I got to run off because I got to prepare for Bible study tonight at 7:00. But I can't wait to see 7 signups in my email shortly so I can send you guys these things. So thank y'all. Follow me and sign up. Click the link in my bio. 30 to Eden. Bye.